One guilty verdict, no decision on 8 counts, and tonight Judge Norbert Nadel says that could be enough to send suspended Judge Tracie Hunter to jail. We have the verdict for you live here on 9 on Your Side.
In case you're just catching up on the Hunter story, here is where we stand right now. The guilty count is for interfering with a public contract. Hunter helped her brother as he was being disciplined by the county. The jury was hung on the other counts: theft in office, forgery, tampering with evidence. This was a long, complicated case, and tonight we're boiling it down to the key issues for you. 9 on Your Side's Evan Millward is covering that part of the story for you. Evan?
Well, yeah, there was a tongue lashing that you will hear in just a little bit from Judge Norbert Nadel, but he also gave thanks to the jurors, thanking them several times for their time and attention. That's because they had to go through 300 pieces of evidence. They heard from nearly 24 witnesses and more. And one UC law professor says it was complicated even further by some initial claims that this was all politically motivated.
There were very, very charged partisan attacks by the prosecution and equally aggressive charged partisan attacks by the defense as to how this case should be viewed. And ultimately, I think the jury was able to sift through all of that and focus on the evidence.
From the start, the trial of suspended Judge Tracie Hunter has been contentious. Her attorneys calling it a witch hunt against a black Democrat shaking up a traditionally white Republican system.
The notion that this trial was a political vendetta against a Democratic elected judge, or for that matter, a black woman judge in Hamilton County, I do not think there was any evidence to support that motivational analysis in this case.
UC law professor Christo Lassiter points out this jury's focus was on substance, not show. It may be why they got stuck on 8 counts. What was Hunter's motivation? He gives credit to clarity.
Clyde Bennett's closing argument was absolutely brilliant. It was a masterful articulation of the case, simplified and clear. Clyde Bennett did a masterful job for Judge Hunter.
High praise there for the defense and some words of warning for the prosecution. Professor Lassiter says their focus may have been off. That may be what led to the hung jury on those 8 counts. He says their focus on backdating documents and the government credit card charges, those were torpedoed by testimony throughout this trial, especially the backdating documents. Professor Lassiter says the minute that a witness got up and said that it happens almost all the time because it has to was the turning point for this case. We're live downtown tonight. Evan Millward, 9 on Your Side.
Okay, well, this trial, of course, was one for the record books. It was 6 weeks long. There were 4 days of jury deliberations. And when it was all over, Judge Norbert Nadel, the trial judge here, had quite a tongue lashing for his colleague.
I believe the evidence showed serious ethical violations, which included, among others, nepotism, improper judicial temperament, tardiness in rendering decisions, and denying public access to her courtroom.
Attorney Clyde Bennett wouldn't comment on Judge Nadel's remarks. Instead, he believes the conviction will be overturned on appeal.
I'm not convinced that the guilty verdict will be upheld by a court of appeals or the Ohio Supreme Court, because you can tell as a matter of law, the evidentiary buttress for that count does not meet the elements of unlawful interest in a public contract.
Judge Hunter was surrounded by supporters as she left the courthouse, and they pushed their way through reporters who wanted to know her reaction to the conviction. Sentencing is December 2nd, and the penalty could involve anything from probation to prison term of 6 to 18 months. We aren't going to know until that point. We aren't going to know till that point either. Well, they're going to be retrial on the ones where the jury was hung. Special prosecutors Scott Croswell and Merlin Cheverdecker declined comment until that December time. Tom McKee, 9 on Your Side, live at the Hamilton County Courthouse.
All right, thank you, Tom. So what's next? Hunter's attorney says he'll appeal the guilty verdict. It'll be up to the prosecutor if he wants to retry the other counts. As a convicted felon, Tracie Hunter cannot serve as a judge. Hunter has been suspended with pay for now, and now she'll lose her $121,000 annual salary. It'll be up to Governor John Kasich to appoint Hunter's successor.
The WCPO digital team is working hard on the story for you. Right now, you can find a comprehensive library of stories on how we got to today, plus analysis on how the court has been running during all this turmoil.